The Rise and Fall of the Canton Trade System. Executive producer Shishia Chang. Producer Donnie Nguyen. Scriptwriter Kayla Severson. Editor Sarah Johnson. Narrator Nick Lee. During the late 18th century, early 19th century, the Chinese controlled trade with Westerners, the Westerners being Western European powers and the United States. They limited trade to a few ports that were strictly regulated and where prices were often skimmed off the top. DeBerry, page 94. According to the MIT website, quote, there was a variety of commercial, art, and craft goods exchanged in the Canton region, end quote. Many of the traders were from China, but the rest came from Europe, Southeast Asia, and the United States. We as Group 4 will focus on the clash of cultures during the rise and fall of the Canton trade system, regarding the different traditions, vehicles of transportation, and the differences between the East versus the West. Our first photo is titled The St. Lawrence Church. It was created by George Ginnery and was created in 1841. It is a pencil and ink sketch on paper. It is a drawing of the St. Lawrence Church located in Macau, China. The Mandarin's House Party, created by Thomas Alone in 1843. This picture was drawn as a pencil sketch and was printed in ink by Thomas Alone and later engraved by Patterson G. This picture is titled Dinner Party at a Mandarin's House, and it displays the architecture, social interactions, and customs of Chinese culture at the time. These two photos provide a comparison of cultural influence of Westerners on Eastern culture during the time of the Canton trade system. In comparison, photo 1 reflects the impacts of Western culture on Chinese culture at this time, as Christianity is assimilated into everyday life. The second photo reflects a recurring event, which is the celebration of a fair trade in a merchant's home. This photo reflects how Westerners would have had to adapt to Eastern culture to achieve trade. Photo 3, which is located to the left, was created between 1850 and 1860 in Guangzhou, China. It was created with Gonak, a type of paint used on paper during this time. The picture is titled Dragon Boat, and it shows a contrast between the different ships of the two respective cultures at the time. Photo 4, which is located to the right, was created by A.J. Ingersoll, entitled Steamer. It is of a ship built in 1866 in Mystic, Connecticut. This photo is an example of a Western ship. We added it to show the differences between a Chinese ship and Western ship during this time. The steamer being plain and boring, whereas the dragon ship is bright and colorful. It presents how one culture took premise in beauty by design, and the other efficiency and advancement. First, we wanted to focus on the similarities in between each picture. Each picture resembles an aspect of Chinese life during the early 1800s. Each is drawn to incorporate scale and landscape, instead of focusing on a single individual or object, as well revealing a whole scene as it would have been viewed by a common passerby. Detail is a huge key in each of these pictures because the actions and positions of the different individuals in the photos each add to the scene which is being displayed. The displayed environment of the pictures, from the wood design of the dragon ship to the minute details carved into the table of the Mandarin dinner party, give a reflective image of the materials and style of Chinese culture in the early 1800s. Next, we wanted to focus on the differences of the two compared photos within their context. There are several differences within these pictures. For picture 1 and 2, the differences between the images is that one shows Western influence on Chinese culture. Some Chinese converted to Christianity, which reflects how much of the Western culture had influenced China during this time, compared to picture 2, where Chinese culture regarding social habits and customs is displayed reflecting the maintaining of identity during the Canton system. As well, each picture reflects different social classes which lived in China at the time. being the either poor or middle class in the St. Lawrence Church and the wealthy merchant in the Mandarin dinner party. For pictures 3 and 4, each picture reflects the current advancement of each culture as well as the difference in design for ships. Picture 3, the dragon ship, is identifiably built with materials available in China at the time. As well, the ship is a work of floating art with vibrant color and texture. Picture 4, the steamer, is obviously more advanced than the dragon ship. It reflects the current industrial improvements made in Western culture, but is focused more on the efficient and less on colorful design. It reflects more industry than art. The point of view of each picture is in the third person, to give the previously mentioned full encompassment of a scene. As well, the audience of each picture are Westerners, curious about East Asian culture. We draw this conclusion because each picture, except for the steamer, is focused on the Chinese people, their customs, and their environment. The steamer, even though it is a Western ship, is placed against an East Asian scene, which gives a clear contrast for Western viewers to draw upon. To conclude, it is easy to see that during the Canton system, Western culture made influences upon Chinese culture, with religion and trading of goods and customs influencing Chinese daily life. But Chinese culture was maintained throughout the Canton system. Chinese social customs and design was still practiced, identifying that even though Western powers began to greatly influence, even control China, the Chinese people continued practicing and performing their cultural way of life, despite the Westerners' current investment in their world.